When viewed from any angle, from beneath or from above, the Mendip Hills are not only deserving of the title an area of outstanding natural beauty, but are also providers of a much-needed mineral resource.
Well, here at Whatley Quarry we quarry this type of limestone. This is what we call carboniferous limestone. It comes from a geological time about 300 million years ago, and we actually crush the rock once we've quarried it. We turn it into what we call aggregate. We have a sample here of the crushed aggregate. And we sort it by different size categories because the end use for most of our rock is in the construction industry, and we need to have it in its different sizes for the different uses. And you can see here through the cross section of the asphalt that makes up this road, you can actually see the banding in the asphalt where there are different size aggregates mixed together with the bitumen to make the actual asphalt surface.
The overburden removed, it's time for the pyrotechnics, and charges are deposited into boreholes. But despite the apparent relaxed and nonchalant approach of the explosives team, safety is always paramount. After all, in this business, as everyone knows, there is no second chance.
At the moment we're blasting approximately 20,000 tonnes per day, and we use a rule of thumb of 1,000 tonnes for every hole we drill. That is producing about 100,000 tonnes a week, of which 30,000 is going to tip or scalpings. We're then putting 70,000 tonnes a week through the primary plant over there, which then gets crushed down for use in the construction industry, aggregates for concrete, etc. Some projects we're currently involved with from this quarry, we've recently completed the supply of aggregates to Canary Wharf Tower 2. We're supplying aggregates to construct the concrete tunnel sections for the Channel Tunnel rail link, the high-speed link between Waterloo and Dover, and then through the Channel Tunnel. And we're currently on a contract to supply Terminal 5 at Heathrow with a limestone sand product from this quarry, railed to a depot near Heathrow.
The quarry environment is undoubtedly the land of giants, with huge bucket loaders and dump trucks designed to haul loads approaching up to 80 tonnes in one go. And one cannot help but be impressed by the sheer scale of the operation, which is carried on around the clock.
The quarry is open 24 hours a day. The predominance of activities at night is maintenance and routine and preventative maintenance. We're predominantly crushing between 6 in the morning and 1:30 in the afternoon, and then the afternoon shift would be carrying on crushing if the demand needs, or hauling muck to tip, or hauling aggregates around to stockpiles, things like that.
At the Hanson Whatley quarry, most of the heavy equipment is sourced from Caterpillar, Volvo and Komatsu, and the driving compartment of the latest machines resembles that of a luxury car with air conditioning, power steering, automatic gearbox and all mod cons. Older equipment is relegated to other duties such as hauling fuel or water, since the high capital cost and durability of such machines assures an almost indefinite lifespan. Even unloading these leviathans is simplicity itself, a question of flicking a couple of switches and then watching the load discharge into the crusher on the in-cab monitor. The whole operation is slick and well organised, with every phase of the operation overseen by the modern control centre.
We have a couple of main products. We have the clean stone product, which is the product that's passed through the crusher and has been screened out into its individual sizes. Various customers buy that for their own purposes. They would buy the single sizes for production into concrete products, ornamental products, or cement products, things like that. We also then mix those single sizes up ourselves with bitumen and other products to make asphalts to use on the roads, road surfacing materials. And they go out by road, the aggregates go out by road, and we can also sell the aggregates by the rail, which is more than 50% of our sales are aggregates by rail.
Well, quarrying here in this part of the East Mendips has been identified since Roman times, but Whatley Quarry at its present site, just across the road, actually began in 1937. So quarrying's been going on for about 66 years now. And it actually started down by the river cutting, where the rock was exposed and worked by hand, and slowly over the last 66 years the quarry has actually increased in size. The current future for Whatley Quarry is expected to last for about 25 more years. We're working, the quarry, the main area we're quarrying currently is here, and it's working west for about another 25 years till it reaches this final limit here. Today it has a workforce of just over 100. That's directly employed in the actual quarry itself, and on top of that there are about 50 to 60 hauliers, several contractors, and of course all the satellite staff that go with such an operation.
My name is John Smith, A.J. Smith, known to everybody around the district as Smudger. I came out of the army late 1947, and I started driving for Ted Reid, F. Reid and Sons, about March 48 on quarry work, tipper work, and I spent almost the next 40 odd years on quarry work. The first truck I had when I went on for Ted, being the new boy, you usually got the rubbish in those days, and it was an old wartime short wheelbase Bedford tipper, officially a 5-tonner, but we were always told there's plenty of room up above me, son, and regularly ran it with 8 ton. The worst thing I ever drove was, it was Ron Ford's lorry actually, down Locks Hill, but he was way ill or something, and that was a Chinese 6 Foden, twin steer Foden with 4-wheel brakes, and we used to run that down the other side of Petersfield, and we used to try and get 15 ton on it. And basically it was only a 10-tonner, and you tried stopping that with 4-wheel brakes. You know, it was nightmare until I think it was Ted Hines, Gillingham, Hine Brothers. They took the quarry over, and that was when we got a decent fleet of vehicles. We had I had an S-type Bedford then, and a lot of the others were Leyland Comets with some 8-wheel Ackies and that sort of thing. Comer 2-strokes, Foden 2-strokes, and that was quite a nice, comfortable little job. We had no easy sheets. All the sheeting you had for a load of tarmac, 9 times out of 10, was a piece of old railway tarpaulin tucked into the sides of the tarmac with the shovel, and that was it. You were way down the road, nothing sophisticated. And if we were running to West Drayton from Hapsford Quarry up to West Drayton Tar Plant, that was a 10 or 11 hour day. You didn't want nothing else to do that day. Now they're doing 3 a day up there. The Mitchell Deaver up the Hampshire Tar Plant, that was a regular occurrence, you come back and you try and get a short run before you went back for the second load. When you went back for your second load, out comes the second logbook. First one went under the seat, and out comes the second one, and away you went to a flying start. It was with the Amy regime that we had the chance to go owner drivers, and I went on as an owner driver, and I suppose I had about 20 years. Best I ever had, I think, was a Volvo six-wheeler. At the moment, now I'm retired, I'm well into my 70s, and my hobby now is rallying a little KD Bedford 30 underweight. Very similar to the first wagon I drove from Loxhill Garages, 1948.
Evidence of the improvements in the working environment, and particularly in the drivability of modern heavy trucks, is found in the Volvo FM12 8-wheeler owned and driven by Tony Court. Contracted to Wainwrights of Stoke St Michael near Shepton Mallet, this truck is equipped with a fully automated 12-speed gearbox, an electrically operated load cover system, and load cells to monitor the permitted gross weight. Power is provided by a 420 horsepower diesel engine and braking supplemented by an efficient engine brake.
Are you going to where we went yesterday morning, Chopper? Well, you reckon he got you on the went down there with the machine, was he? Oh, that'd be all out in the... Oh, well, yeah, it could have been a bit early, that's right, yeah. I was thinking to myself, we won't never get that in if you haven't pushed it up, will it? Yeah, it must be, yeah. All right, I'll see you down there. Cheers, mate.
It must be difficult for an old hand like Smudger Smith to appreciate just how much safer and indeed easier the job could get in a modern vehicle of this type. Air conditioning, cruise control, electrically operated mirrors and ABS brakes are just some of the unseen advantages of driving a state-of-the-art truck. Certainly Tony is highly appreciative of the Volvo I-Shift gearbox and feels that it is worth its weight in gold when it comes to driving along the narrow lanes which masquerade as main roads in North Dorset.
You feel the advantage on this gearbox coming down a journey like this, because you'll be up and down on the stick, you know, if you had a manual box, whereas in here you don't know anything, you know what I mean? And it makes life so much bloody easier. It's unbelievable.
Improved fuel economy is yet another unexpected benefit.
He's doing between, depends, on a journey like this, you'll probably be talking about between 8 and 9.
Yeah.
On a journey like running up the 303 to London or somewhere like that, you'll be talking about between 9 and 10.
Oh, yeah.
which is pretty good.
And that's running at 32, isn't it? 32
Yeah,
ton? Yeah.
And I said, all I hope is that you don't give any hassle. And, you know, they don't say, oh, well, that ain't no good with quarry work. We'll have to have it back and put a manual box in it. Oh, I'd be sick of that.
Yeah.
During the course of his career behind the wheel, Tony has driven several different makes of vehicle, but has always owned Volvo, claiming that they provide him with the sort of features he needs.
These chippings I delivered to that lay-by where you see him loading.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Well, I don't say these, but this is our material.
His previous tipper was another FM12 420 with a manual gearbox, but Tony feels that the I-Shift offers huge benefits on the sort of work he regularly undertakes. Not having to change gear manually in situations like this, where road positioning is critical, certainly proves his point.
He won't stop, so you can't stop when he's laying that.
You just got to keep
You
going.
have to wait a minute.
Oh. Aha.
Unloading too is a safe and straightforward task these days, a lot different to 50 years ago when loads were regularly shoveled off. Apart from having to secure the tailboard once empty, tipping is achieved without ever leaving the cab.
One of the major things I would say with a modern truck is the brakes, definitely. Engine brakes. And up to what trucks were 20 years ago, I mean, there's absolutely no comparison. But as running the truck, I mean, you've got electric sheets which saves you getting on top of the vehicle to put a sheet over it, which you're not allowed to do anyway now for health and safety reasons. You've got weighers to weigh the material that the guy's putting on, so that you don't have to get up there to shovel anything off, which obviously makes life a lot easier. And well, like the whole vehicle really nowadays is built differently.
But despite the advantages claimed for modern heavy vehicles, some operators still prefer payload and simplicity to luxury and complexity.
My name's Andrew Heritage, and this is my Leyland Constructor 3026, the lightweight version. I've had it about 10 years. The reason for running the vehicle is it's a very nice vehicle to drive. It's easy to get into different sites, carries a very good payload, nearly 21 tonne. The engine is a TL11 Leyland engine with a 9-speed range change gearbox, which is quite rare because most of these come out with spicer boxes. It's also got rubber rear suspension. It's just generally a really good truck. Previously owned by ARC, a local quarry at Watley. It was run by them until I bought it on the franchise scheme. So obviously it done a very high mileage when I bought it. It's got an insulated body, carries tarmac. It still does roughly about a 70-mile radius, generally in a week. The reliability of it, it's had a few head gasket problems at different times, but each time it seems to be it comes back and it's not been obviously repaired properly, and so I've had a few real sort of unfortunate mishaps with it, but it's touch wood at the moment, it seems to be fine. It's done about 1 million miles, just over, so
Angela Yeoman is a strong supporter of the Mendip tipper drivers, and her commitment to the quarry industry is obvious.
And the farthest that anyone has travelled tonight is Teignmouth in Devon. We've got people from Wirral and Dorset. And as you know, we've launched a book here tonight, Family Affairs.
Angela Yeoman also supports local industry wherever possible, and now that her quarry at Tall Works is set for further expansion, this has created a need for additional equipment. Fortunately for all concerned, local plant operator Kelston Sparks is located nearby. Well known throughout the area as a thriving family business, the company recently invested in a big Hitachi 850 that will be used to strip the overburden, and the first task is to move it from Stanton Drew to the Tall Works. Moving a big piece of equipment like this requires a lot of muscle, so the new Volvo FH16 610 tractor and Nuterboom low loader are brought into play. The Volvo driver Colin makes the loading process look easy, but as with all things, it's experience and attention to detail that count. At an all-out weight approaching 130 tonnes, the FH16 appears comfortably on top of the job, and Colin is suitably impressed both with the grunt of the big engine and the retardation provided by the Volvo engine brake. A tough, demanding and frequently unpopular industry, at least with some environmentalists, The quarry business in the Mendip Hills employs a large number of local people with a wide and diversified range of skills. The humble lorry or truck driver is often perceived as being at the lower end of the skill base, but without his investment and commitment, the limestone and asphalt would never arrive at its final destination. Indeed, the entire process of extraction and distribution is a fascinating and visually stimulating subject, and one which certainly warrants further coverage at a future date.